President Xi Jinping just wrapped up his policy speech, his first here in the United States. It lasted about half an hour, starting at about 6 p.m. local time. He spoke to about 750 businessmen and government officials over that time. Chief among them, of course, Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, of course, who helped to normalize ties between the U.S. and China. Now, you were speaking about some of the issues that he spoke about over the past 30 minutes, and basically he was going through a laundry list of U.S. concerns, chief among them, and I'm just looking at my notes here that I was taking, the Chinese economy, as he said, is still operating in a proper range, 7% this year. Interestingly, though, according to our own Bloomberg data, that may fall below to about 6.9% by the end of this year, so we have a few more months to see how that plays out. He says the economy is under downward pressure, but that they're moving to a consumption-driven growth. One interesting thing that he did imply, at least, is Beijing's hand in the stabilization of the stock market, as he says, to avoid systemic risk. This is very key that he said this now twice in the past 2 days, the first being in a Wall Street Journal article that was published overnight. He also touched on him being against depreciation and a currency war, and that China will not devalue its currency. Of course, we do know that in August, China did depreciate its currency, not once but twice, and it fell about 3%. And in addition to that, he also said that China will never close its door to the outside world. That, of course, is echoing Chairman Deng Xiaoping back in the 1970s, 1980s of reform and opening up Gaiga and Kaifang in Mandarin. He also talked about the rule of law and that there has to be a greater trust in the judicial system here. He also spoke, interestingly here, about cyber espionage. And, of course, cyber espionage has been and will continue to be a very big topic while he is here in the United States. He said that China is a defender as well as a victim of hacking. So he's basically putting China in a positive light and saying, hey, we are also a victim of this. He also stresses that they will not engage in cyber theft and that crimes must be punished. He also spoke about corruption. He also spoke about China's foreign policy being defensive in nature. And here he's talking, I believe, to the South China Sea territorial dispute. About 4/5 of the sea itself right now is claimed by China. That has been upsetting China's neighbors from Vietnam to the Philippines, as well as a watchful eye coming from Japan, as well as South Korea. He did, though, end on a couple of warm notes, and that cooperation, he said, between the U.S. and China is very necessary. He looked to the history of U.S.-China relations, talking about the Transcontinental Railroad being built and about the U.S.'s help in World War II. He also said, I believe that he was talking about a China-U.S. Year of Tourism in 2016, and he also ended with Martin Luther King saying that the time is always right to do the right thing. With that said, I want to wrap this up, that he did actually just go through a laundry list, I believe, paying a lot of lip service, really, to U.S. concerns. Now, moving ahead through the next 5 or 6 days that he's here, we'll see if that proof actually comes to light as he meets with President Obama in Washington, D.C. You know, he can say as much as he wants to say, but if laws can be passed and there still are no teeth to them, then they really carry no weight. We'll be looking ahead to the next several days. It was an interesting talk to hear President Xi Jinping speak. We're going to be following him all day tomorrow, so we will check in with you then. Yvonne, back to you.
All right, Ramy Inocencio, thanks so much for that. I think it was interesting. He said China's dream is also the people's dream. But, Ramy, I wanted to ask you, where does he go next?
Sure thing. Well, after today, this is his last public event for today. Tomorrow morning, his first public event happens again right here at the Westin Seattle. That is when there is the Paulson Institute Roundtable for Business. So basically what's happening, it's a who's who of business executives from both the U.S. as well as China. President Xi will be attending, as well as major heads from the likes of Apple. For example, Tim Cook is going to be here. Howard Schultz is going to be here from Starbucks. Also on the Chinese side, we're going to be seeing Alibaba's head, as well as Tencent's head, the head of ICBC, which is the world's biggest bank by market cap, as well as the head of the Bank of China. So 15 CEOs from China joining President Xi Jinping, 15 CEOs from the United States. participating in this discussion. They're going to be talking about how to get greater access on each side of the Pacific. And one interesting to note is that on the Chinese side, those 15 CEOs that are coming run companies that are worth in total market cap $1 trillion. So if anyone means business, these people mean business. We're definitely going to be looking ahead to see what they're going to be saying tomorrow.